So if you could just start by introducing yourself and tell me about your role on One Week and why you're here at Real Canada.
Avi Federgreen, producer, production manager of One Week, and I'm here to do a Q&A for Real Canada on One Week.
And you've been working in the Canadian film and television industry for
15 years.
15 years. And how would you characterize that experience?
If somebody told me I couldn't work in the business anymore, I'd probably off myself. I love it. You get to make films, the power that you hold in telling stories that affect people. It's a great ability that you have in doing that. So I love it. Wouldn't want to do anything else.
Working as a producer, what have you found has been, your most significant challenge or hurdle that you've had to overcome to be able to do what you want to do?
Well, to make films in Canada, there's many challenges. One is financing films, distribution. The economy has changed the industry greatly. Our industry relies on government funding primarily to make our films, and a lot of that funding has been taken away. It's really hard to make films in Canada now, and only about somewhere between 6 and a dozen films get made each year, and with the way the economy is, that may, even lessen. So I think it's, and it takes a long time to make films. The film that I did this year took 16 years to get made, so that kind of tells you the difficulty in making films now.
What's your reaction to the reception that One Week received? Are you pleased with how it did among the Canadian audience?
Listen, we're very proud of this movie. Mike McGowan, who's a very talented writer and director, really did an amazing job, A, in writing it, and B, directing it. And he's a very big team player. We went across the country over the course of 3 weeks, shooting from Toronto to Tofino. We all pitched in and helped one another in making the movie, and then we came back and shot for 2 weeks here. He's a smart, intelligent writer and director. He's funny, he's emotional, and he really knows how to tell a story. And I think One Week has really, done extremely well, because I think people can relate to it. People that have done that drive across Canada, people that know somebody that has cancer and is trying to find themselves during that whole experience of them going through the disease, and people get to see Canada in a way that they've never really seen it before. So there's a lot of attraction to the film, and it's done very, very well. We've done extremely well in theatrical release. It came out in mid-March, was in theaters till the beginning of July. DVD came out in June to huge success, and has done extremely well on DVD, and still in a lot of Blockbuster stores to this day, months and months later, there's still 20 to 30 copies being rented on a daily basis. So.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Is there any measure yet of what the gross domestic box office was?
Domestically, it's about 1.3 million, and DVDs exceeded that.
And what was the total budget for the film?
1.8.
So what do you see as a producer as your benchmark in terms of, a quantifiable success? Because I think, we have different
Listen, I
expectations.
think part of the success is actually getting a film made in Canada now. And the challenges that you have to go through to get your film made it's like, going in a triathlon sometimes. And the second thing is that, getting people to see it. One Week was released in its first week in over 50 theaters, and then released in over 60 theaters in the second week, and it maintained a good audience for quite a while. That's a testament to how good the movie is. B, Mongrel Media, who were the distributors of the film, put a lot of effort and time and money into the distribution of the film. We had great we had sponsors that came on board after we had made the movie, people like Roots and Steam Whistle, and that loved the movie so much, Air Canada, that wanted to help support the film. That doesn't happen in Canada. We had an article written about the marketing campaign for One Week in Variety. I mean, how many Canadian films get articles written about their success in distribution in this country? It's rare, and I think that the films that we're making in this country now are, I wouldn't say better, I mean, they're more commercial maybe. And the writing and the talent pool that we have just keeps getting better, and we're getting recognized internationally for, you know, our talent pool, both in writers, directors, performers, crew. We have a strong industry here, and we need to take that seriously. We need to build our industry with younger people who want to become filmmakers or be involved in the filmmaking process. And we have to build that infrastructure, because if we don't, we will not have an industry left. And we need to encourage filmmakers to make their own independent films, both in short film and then long format, and encourage young directors to then make feature films. And we need to support that both financially and creatively. So,
in terms of that challenge of getting people to see it, what do you think are the benefits of an initiative like this, like Real Canada, bringing Canadian
I think
films
it's
into
important.
high
I
schools?
mean, you know, the reality is that some people don't have the ability to go to a movie theater and see it. A, financially, B, time, C, many other things. We need to get people to see our Indigenous production. It's hard to get distribution now. You know, you make a film and you might only get it in 2 to 3 screens. It may never come out on DVD. We need to expose Canadians to Canadian films. You know, we need to tell Canadian stories, and we need people to see those Canadian stories. So it's important. And things like Real Canada and various other programs is important to allowing us to extend the viewing audience for what we're making here.
I found a big part of it too, and certainly what Jack is saying in terms of his approach to with bringing these films in is to take kids when you're at a young age and to give them a sense of Canadian identity through culture and that experience, and how, you know, we don't have enough of that, and
Right.
it's a specific demographic too. Like, how important is it to you to get a good reaction from, you know, this age group? With
I think it's important. I mean, when we brought out One Week, we encouraged people to bring their kids. I mean, it's not, you know, there's nothing in the movie that would be construed to be, you know, difficult subject matter for a younger student to see. I took my kids, which at the time were 9 and 12. They totally understood the subject matter. They totally related to it. They got a chance to see some of Canada they never would have, at this age, they haven't seen. They participated in the Q&A. They asked Mike McGowan questions. I think it's important. You know, we've made it a mission to show people this film as much as possible, both through the film circuit, Real Canada, going and talking at schools and universities about filmmaking and about the film. The more exposure that you can create, the better off not only it is for the film, but also for our industry. So.
And can you just touch on that point we were talking about earlier about how One Week was really marketed to a younger demographic, and when you're out on the road, you noticed that really struck a chord with 40 plus?
Well, I think that, you know, the thought was that the demographic for One Week was 25 to 35, but what we did find in a lot of cases that the audience that was going there was 40 and over. Now, the 25 to 35 did go. I mean, the young girls that liked Joshua Jackson in Dawson's Creek totally went to see the film, which is exactly what we thought was going to happen. But because of the subject matter of the character Ben, who had cancer, people related to that, and they wanted to go see that. People who had done the drive across Canada, either in a car or on a motorcycle or on a bicycle, they went to see the film. People that wanted to see Canada shown cinematically, they wanted to go see the film. So, I mean, it was a multi-layered film that attracted different people for different reasons. Whenever we would go and introduce the film, people would come up to us afterward and said, "My God, I did that drive, and boy, does that bring back memories." Or, "Yeah, a friend of mine had cancer, and we watched him or her go through what this character was going through." For various reasons, this movie touched a lot of people in different ways. So, I think that's the biggest success of this movie is that, and I like to say is, how do you know you made a good movie? When people go out to a coffee shop or a bar or someplace afterwards and they talk about your film for 2 to 3 hours, you know you made a good film. And I think we achieved that with 1 week for sure.